What's going on, everybody? Brian here, and I've got a quick game of Team Deathmatch for you on Quarry. Actually, it's not quite a quick game. It's almost 7 minutes long, so probably a little bit longer for a game of Team Deathmatch, but just want to give you guys a quick update before I talk about a couple other things that I saw in the news and a couple articles I read. I figured I'd give you a quick Hurricane Irene aftermath, which for me, in my house and my neighborhood, was actually pretty minor. Thankfully for me, even though I went out and bought a generator and 25 gallons of gas and everything else, the power in my house never went out. But unfortunately for my father, he lives about 45 minutes from me. I mentioned before he has a lake house. His power did go out and his basement began to flood on Sunday. So I was able to meet him and give him my generator, my gasoline and everything else, so that he could fire that bad boy up and get his sump pump running and get his refrigerator running, which were my original plans. So at least I was able to help another family member out from the generator that I bought. And I just saw on the news today that a tropical storm, Katia, I think is how it's going to be pronounced, is forming in the Atlantic Ocean. And they're predicting it's going to be a Category 3 hurricane by sometime on Sunday. And it is heading towards possibly the East Coast again. So if that turns out to be the case, I guess I'm going to get my generator back from my father again and have him refill all my gas cans, possibly. I mean, hopefully it turns out, stays out in the Atlantic and it misses everybody, because I know there's still some massive flooding, all the way down from the Carolinas to Virginia to Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Vermont, pretty much all up and down the coast in New York and everything else. And there's still millions of people that currently still do not have power. So by the time they even begin to recover from that, if another hurricane does come up the coast and hits us again, I can only imagine what that's going to do to exacerbate the existing conditions that may still be in place by that time. But as I said, let's all hope for the best, and hopefully it misses us and stays out to sea. Like I said, I hate to see a Category 4 possibly storm like that hit Florida or anything else. So that thing's going to be that strong by Sunday. I mean, who knows how it could continue to strengthen after that. And you just really don't want to see anything like that make landfall anywhere in this country or anywhere else for that matter. But I'm going to talk about a couple news stories that I read about over the last couple days. They're political in nature, so I hope you guys don't mind it. I know in my What Would Brian Do series, you guys very frequently ask me political questions, so I don't think you mind it if I talk a little bit of politics here and there. As I'm sure most of you know by now, most of the candidates have announced their intent to run for president for the Republican nomination, because obviously the incumbent, being Barack Obama, will most likely, I don't think anyone's ever not been the party nominee if they're the current president, so he will most likely be the Democratic nominee for president. And one of the contenders, I guess, in the Republican race is Tea Party candidate Michelle Bachmann. And I'm not sure how many of you may have read this story, but she's basically an ultra-conservative, right-wing Republican, and she pretty much carries a lot of the, the Christian right, as they like to call it. She's the religious right wing of the Republican Party. And she made a comment on Monday, I guess during a speech from the article I'm looking at right now. She made the remarks on Sunday at a political rally in Florida. It says it was in a somewhat joking tone, but I still don't see how you would make a comment like this, even if you were intending it as a joke. I mean, your intent is to run for president of the United States, and her quote, it was exactly what she said. I'm going to read it word for word from the article. "I don't know how much God has to do to get the attention of the politicians. We've had an earthquake, we've had a hurricane," he said. Actually, she said. The article is misspelled. "Are you going to start listening to me here? Listen to the American people, because the American people are roaring right now, because they know what has to be done. They know government is on a morbid obesity diet, and we've got to rein in the spending," she said. So she's basically saying that God created an earthquake and a hurricane to get the attention of the politicians? Seriously? I mean, I'm all for my political candidates, being religious, having a strong faith. But at some point, you kind of got to draw a line to just how ultra-religious and how you incorporate that into your, political thinking and your policy making. I mean, I want someone that is intelligent, logical, and is going to actually examine issues and look at them from different perspectives rather than based upon an incredibly religious attitude and tone. So that's just me. You know, obviously I want my politicians to have, you know, high moral standards, you know, incredibly high ethical standards. But an incredible religious belief system like that you're actually going to say God brought that upon us? That's going a little bit far for me. And so I'm interested to see what you guys think about that as well. And the other article I read today was even worse in my opinion. The title of the article is "Are Members of Congress Paid Enough?" Apparently, several lawmakers have suggested in recent months that despite their $174,000 a year annual salary, there are generous health care and pensions and perks for things like travel and whatnot, that their pay scale isn't all it's cracked up to be. The one member of Congress that is quoted here is a Republican representative, Steve Sutherland, saying that his $174,000 salary is not so much considering the hours that he puts in, and he had to sever ties with his family business in Panama City. Well, yeah, if you're going to go serve your government, I would think that you could also run your private business. But, I mean, I watch C-SPAN or I flip through the channels on occasion. There's no one ever there. And, let me see, where's another quote here? His sentiments, Sean Duffy, another Republican representative, said it was in March, it was a struggle to pay his mortgage and student loans to his congressional salary. I'm sorry, dude, how much is your mortgage? I mean, maybe you shouldn't live in that $3 million house then. And he says he's not living high on the hog, okay? And let me see, another person here, where's Linda Sanchez, a Democratic representative from California, said she was living paycheck to paycheck. Seriously? On $174,000 a year, you're living paycheck to paycheck? That pretty much just tells me that you need to learn to budget your money a little bit better. Because before taxes, that is $14,500 a month, and you're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe instead of driving a Bentley, you drive a Chevy, and instead of living in a multi-million-dollar house, you live in something a little more average. Just a thought there. You know how clueless our politicians really are. You're complaining about your almost $200,000 a year salary in a recession when unemployment is at 9.5%. Some of these people really need to get a clue. Hope you guys really enjoyed the video. I will talk to all of you soon. I hope you have a good one.